Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
New tonight at 10, there's some concern after Cheyenne High School families were notified of a student athlete testing positive for COVID-19.
We have since learned that practices and games for the boys' soccer team will continue despite the player testing positive for the virus. Valley News Team's Courtney Lockie spoke with athletes and explains the precautions the school is taking.
Matthew Fisher describes getting to play his senior season under the lights at Cheyenne High School as a privilege.
I'm very thankful that we get to play.
Fisher is among a growing number of athletes worried about having to take a seat on the sidelines because of the pandemic.
Now that some players on the soccer team have contracted the virus and they've shut down for a few weeks, so that kind of worries me.
Fisher and other athletes at the school say a positive COVID-19 test seemed inevitable, but they didn't expect it so soon.
Every time one person gets in there, it jeopardizes it for all the other sports. So now we're all kind of on edge.
As news spread Wednesday of the boys' soccer player testing positive for the virus, many at Cheyenne worried that more athletes will be impacted.
Coach always says he's you gotta play like every day's your last because the season goes by quick.
In the case of the soccer player, school leaders along with health officials determined that the season should continue since the athlete was already out injured. That's not always going to be the case, with the rules more stringent depending on the sport. In West Fargo, Courtney Lockie, Valley News Live.
And for more information about what happens when a student athlete does test positive for COVID-19, download the VNL News app.
An entire college campus is under quarantine tonight in southeastern Minnesota. Around 200 cases of COVID-19 are linked to Winona State. Today's rainfall and gray skies across the campus matched the dreary feeling students had upon learning of the 2-week quarantine. While the campus is closed to the public, students can still access buildings with their ID cards. But in-person classes, for the most part, are now online.
I felt really safe. I had a lab on campus. We had to sanitize before we went in, after, and then they come in and do it again.
Last week, the university president said the cases aren't scattered across campus, but rather isolated to social groups and specific social gatherings, making it easier for them to identify and isolate cases.
As COVID cases continue to rise in North Dakota, Democrats are calling on the governor to expand paid sick leave for teachers and staff members who get COVID while on the job. This would be similar to what Governor Burgum made available to first responders in March. School districts are seeing staff being stretched, with teachers and workers relying on their sick time. Last week, the governor lifted the cap on how long a substitute teacher can serve, but Democrats say more can be done.
Anyone protected by these orders would be presumed to have caught COVID-19 at work. It would cut through red tape and give assurance to all school employees that they would not be thrown out the door and cast out to the street, so to speak.
This request goes beyond the classroom to also include bus drivers, kitchen staff, and others.
North Dakota is looking at another round of help for small businesses. This comes on the heels of recent local closures. Several area businesses tell us it's been a struggle. Curvy Divas in West Fargo says it has gotten creative in trying to lure people back in. The store stayed open throughout the pandemic, but they aren't sure if they can make it into next year unless there's federal or state aid.
Everybody's struggling right now with the pandemic going on, so it's hit or miss if we get our stock or not.
Anything that we can do to boost consumer confidence and stop the spread is going to be vital. Those two things are very important.
The state received nearly $80 million worth of requests from small businesses, but only had $65 million available. The deadline was nearly 2 weeks ago. Downtown businesses and police have scheduled a town hall meeting to share their experiences in downtown Fargo. Some say they've seen people shooting up heroin in broad daylight or have witnessed urinating in public. They hope joining together will help them come up with a solution to make downtown safer.
I think it's super beneficial that they get together and hopefully kind of find a way to, make it a livable place for everyone, even for people that maybe can't afford housing.
Business owners we talked with say the downtown area is not an unsafe place to be. They say some behavior by the homeless population may make people feel uncomfortable, adding feeling unsafe and being unsafe are two different things. To learn more details about the meeting with Fargo Police, you can download our Valley News Live app.
A man is facing several charges after allegedly pointing a loaded gun at Fargo police. Authorities say it happened just after 1 this morning. An officer was patrolling near 13th Avenue and South University Drive and saw a vehicle driven by 38-year-old Sean Larkin of Fargo. There's a warrant out for his arrest. When police stopped the vehicle, Larkin started walking away. There was a scuffle, and officers say that he pulled out a loaded handgun. Officers were able to wrestle it away from him before anyone was hurt. 4 juveniles riding in an UTV were hospitalized following an accident in Northwood, North Dakota. A 12-year-old was driving a Polaris Ranger in town when the driver lost control of the vehicle and went into the ditch. All 4 occupants were taken to Northwood Deaconess Health Center. The injuries are believed to be non-life-threatening.
Let's take a look now at our daily COVID-19 numbers. Minnesota is reporting 282 confirmed cases of COVID-19, along with 7 new deaths. More than 1,800 deaths have been attributed to the disease. More than 75,000 people have recovered. In North Dakota, there are 239 new cases, along with 1 more death in the state. The overall death toll is 157. The daily positivity rate is up at 7.8%. In Williams County, North Dakota, there are now 182 active cases. Health officials say the biggest increase was in 15 to 19-year-olds, adding that may be due to school starting. Those numbers emerged after a testing event on the Williston State College campus on Monday.
1 week into the new school year, and the Fargo Public School District is already facing some unexpected challenges. The district superintendent says they've been overwhelmed with families opting out of in-person classes and turning to the virtual academy. Schools had to scramble to balance the new way of learning under the new hybrid model and still offer quality education online.
Those numbers and enrollment just continue to rise. So that's presented some unique challenges for us as well as we figure out what's the best way to staff, what's the best class size for those, just because it's so fluid and we constantly see more students taking advantage of that opportunity.
It's meant shifting around staff and students to adjust to the higher numbers in the academy. The school district is also trying to stay a step ahead of potential issues within the classroom, making sure someone is able to step in if your child's teacher falls victim to the virus.
We are working at different strategies, whether it's looking at our university partners, whether it's talking to our subs and saying, hey, would you guys commit to a smaller number of buildings so you're not going throughout multiple different buildings.
Dr. Gandhi says the district wants to be prepared for any circumstances after seeing COVID-19 cases at 2 high schools in the district. By the way, if you're interested in substitute teaching, learn more on the VNL News app.
An English teacher at Fargo South High School is a top 10 finalist for a $1 million grand prize. Leah Julke was up against more than 12,000 nominees for the Global Teacher Prize 2020, the largest prize of its kind. They say what makes her stand out is her Journey to America project, which encourages refugee students to document and share their stories of traveling from oftentimes dangerous places.
But the neatest thing about all this is this organization connects the teachers, the top 50, with each other. And we've done different types of sessions together, sharing strategies and lessons. Like, it's been like one of the most amazing things.
Leah was also recognized as North Dakota's Teacher of the Year back in 2018. She will find out if she wins the grand prize on December 3rd.
Later on Valley News Live at 10, COVID-19 is changing some protocols for cleanup week. We're going to tell you what you may need to change this year.
It was a cold one this morning, but will it be just as cold again overnight? Hutch has your forecast coming up.